Today, we are making a Smash Ultimate tier list, but we're deleting jumping. As always, we'll start off with F tier. This hurts me so much to say this, but Yoshi is our first member of the F tier gang. The obvious problem comes from having no ability of doing any aerials, which is what Yoshi needs to do anything, from racking up damage to taking stocks. The not so obvious problem is that Yoshi's up B is Egg Toss, which gives you a tiny boost, yet his primary recovery tool is his Flutter Jump, which doesn't exist anymore. It's truly unplayable with how much Yoshi loses, but for what it's worth, his smash attacks are pretty big. Kirby has 5 mid-air jumps ever since Smash 64, and it should be to no one's surprise that taking away would cut Kirby down to F tier. Forward air is an amazing poking tool that can lead to high damage combos or even up air juggles, but you can't do that without jumping. And similar to Yoshi, you need to use extra jumps to have a good recovery, so Kirby is just forced to fall to the blast zone if up B isn't in range of the ledge. On the bright side, down tilt and up tilt are nice and the smash attacks come out quick, but dying so easily overshadows the bright side. Jigglypuff, the other pink puffball, has an identical issue of having a horrible recovery without mid-air jumps. Instead, where Kirby needs to be vertically lined up with the ledge, Puff needs to be horizontally lined up to recover with a bunch of side B pounds. And at that point, you're recovering so slowly that it's really easy to just intercept it. The whole point of Puff is that she needs to be in the air. She's a balloon Pokemon. Now she attacks with terrible moves like down tilt, sluggish smash attacks, and one of the weakest jabs in the game. Your best moves would be a dash attack or forward throw, but you can't even take advantage of the angle forward throw sends at because edgeguarding isn't a viable strategy. I mean, unless you have a specific kit that we will talk about later in the higher tiers. Dr. Mario. His recovery is just so bad. It's really bad. He's naturally slow on the ground, and it's even more difficult to approach anyone without using stuff like back air. Usually you can drift into opponents while tossing a pill, but now you can only do a standing pill, which isn't as threatening. I will say that up B and up smash out of shield is still super good, and you can still get some sick clips with the Doctor. Young Link is an interesting discovery, but the main problem is that none of Young Link's grounded normals are good for killing besides smash attacks, but everyone's smash attacks do that. He does miss out on all of his auto-cancelable aerials that Young Link loves to mash out and use for bomb or arrow confirms or even just natural edgeguarding. And his airspeed is also not the best, so having no means to bring you back to stage makes him lose much faster. Ganon mains are already used to being here anyways in F tier. In general, he's super slow, but the one fast thing about Ganon was his aerials, like Nair and up air and back air. Those are all great options to open people up. Now you're hoping for a dash attack or a side B 50-50, but you're so slow on the ground that you can see it coming from miles away. And after you do all of that, you gotta find a killing blow, and all your grounded options are pretty slow. Maybe you can do a side B into down tilt if they don't tech it. If you take a stock with no jump Ganon, they probably ran into it rather than you forcing it onto them. King DDD. You lose your multi-jumps, which makes his only recovery tool up B, which is a huge nerf in itself, and you lose all his aerials, which makes DDD a playable character in my opinion. Nair comes out super quick, fair is a nice spacing option, and up air is just disgusting for juggles. Now you're going to use a lot of Gordos and forward tilt and down tilt, and he does have some pretty goofy hitboxes, but winning feels far from reality. If you're enjoying the video, please remember to like and subscribe as it truly does support the channel. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Moving on to D tier with Mr. Jumpman himself, Mario. No ladder combos, or any combos at that matter. He's just really stubby, and most interactions in neutral involve a fireball from the air or a well-spaced back air. The only combos I could come up with is repeated up tilts or a down throw into up B. Up smash is still a great tool on the ground, and your recovery is slightly better than the F tier characters. Link does have higher knockback moves than Young Link, which does help a lot in this scenario. Link's recovery feels more versatile, and you could try doing some remote bomb saves, but I'd assume it'd be difficult without a jump to line it up right. He's still slow, and you lose out on that stupidly quick Nair that he can mash out, thus making it really easy to overwhelm Link. At least he has a nice up B out of shield that comes out on frame 7. Ness's core strengths are from his aerial movements and being able to drift around with a combination of jumps, PSI magnet, and aerials. Without that key strength, Ness has tiny leg attacks or jabs. Dash attack is your only nicely disjointed move, but is unsafe on block. Baseball bat and yo-yo are flexible, being a reflector and a possible shield poking tool respectively, and Ness's saving grace from F tier is that a lot of Ness's special moves are reliable enough to dish out damage and KO, and leaves room for some creative win conditions. Captain Falcon has high burst speeds with some pretty solid grounded gap closers, from run-up dash attack, run-up grab, side B, and up B. However, Falcon could get walled out pretty easily due to his height, And even when you do get these openings, you don't have the jumps to capitalize on these combo starters, heavily reducing Falcon's damage output. None of his grounded options combo well into itself either, so Falcon just struggles in some form at every percent range. Sheik is playing at a Sisyphus level of terrible. Some of Sheik's best options are from nairs and fairs in neutral and up air drag downs, so not having that here today means you're putting in full effort for 15% max each neutral exchange. She's quick, but you have to outplay your opponent so hard every time. She is an F tier because you could play normally, but it's always playing an uphill battle. And if you main Sheik, I'm sure you're used to working really hard anyways. It was hard to imagine what Pichu can do when planted on the ground, and it turns out in reality, not much. Pichu has incredible extended combo potential, mostly from falling nairs, drag down bears, and up air setups into down B. All of this combo potential is severely limited to just up tilts because I banned jumping. Pichu's recovery is still amazing, despite dying early due to being the lightest in the game, and without aerial approaches in general, it's just difficult to initiate any interaction. Falco is the coolest bird. You maintain some nice tilt attacks, most infamously up tilt, but without jumping there's no means to rack up more damage off of it. Falco has the highest jump height out of the entire cast, so losing his wings, so to speak, drastically ruins his initial strengths. And although he's the coolest bird, he is the worst of the space animals. Meta Knight was someone I predicted to be an F tier, mostly for the multi-jump aspect, and don't get me wrong, Meta Knight really does suck without jumping. Yet dash attack and F smash are pretty nice options, and the speed of both are pretty quick. It's still very annoying to approach as Meta Knight because his sword, despite being a sword, is a short sword. So most other swords kinda outsword Meta Knight's sword. Recovery wise, it's actually quite flexible with side B and up B, just make sure you pick the right one. ZSS has such incredible speed and mobility, and her main move kit is packed with flip jumps, tasers, and tricks that help in a fight. However, without jumps, there's nothing to connect all these great pieces together. Nair is an important combo tool, Zair is an irritatingly useful poking tool, and Bear is a great means to KO, and up air helps build more damage on mid-air opponents. Without aerial movement, it seemed unplayable to utilize her grounded options, which was an interesting dissonance. Ike is part of the Nair club, and no Nair means no combos. You can space people out with F-tilts and scaring people with random side B bursts. Ike is surprisingly durable, with a somewhat flexible recovery without a double jump, side B for distance, and up B for verticality. And I know up B is exploitable, but you take what you could get here. Ike kinda has this Ganondorf effect where if your opponent is scared of something happening, it's gonna happen, and Ike can make some scary things just work even if you're losing. Villager has a rudimentary zoning plan, only really having access to Lloyd Rocket and I guess Dash Attack and Tree. Edgeguarding is still a fun option as Villager has Bowling Ball and Tree, and the recovery is solid, but it's so easy to be outzoned or overwhelmed by others without your slingshot. Villager is pretty weak on paper, but I managed to beat this Min without jumping, so that should count for something. Wii Fit Trainer is quite reliant on short hop aerials to do anything meaningful. Your hula hoop recovery becomes pretty easy to exploit, but it is pretty good for distance, and there's something about not having deep breathing back air, which is a deep blow to her kit. You do have potential damage output by landing an up close side B, but overall, she's sadly underwhelming. You do have a jab berry, which can be helpful. You can get a F smash out of it. Rosalina and Luma has notable grounded options in dash attack and up smash and jab shenanigans. They also like using down smash. I'm not sure if it's a good move, but they like to do it for some reason. Without aerials, it seems like her game plan was a ton of stray hits. Couple that with being a light, tall character needing to get many up-close wins, and it's a recipe for disaster. At least your recovery can go far without needing a mid-air jump. Shulk feels like Nair and Fair Simulator, so my hopes are not high for him at all. It felt horrible waiting for my opponent to mess up and approach with just F-tilt or a dash attack. The Monado arts are one of the best moves in the entire game, but they feel insignificant when you can't use them with Shulk's best moves. Personally, I would put Shulk in F tier, but there are some oddities in Shulk's kit that leaves for more potential, from using Air Slash as a large edge guarding tool, as well as dial storage. With Bowser Jr., I was really hoping that there was a way to jump cancel out of side B without needing to press a jump button, but there is no secret workaround here. Because of that, his recovery has become even more nerfed because up B only goes straight up. Bowser Jr. does have one of the best jabs in the game and some of the funniest tilt attacks in the game, but zero jumping completely guts his mobility. Most Bowser Jr.'s use up airs so many times, as well as a side B up B classic. Now you have to rely on suboptimal tricks like exploding clown card edge guards, which isn't bad, but it's still kinda like D tier. Bayonetta's whole thing is to use her jump to get more witch twists in her combos. However, you can still do a grounded side B into up B, into 2 more side Bs, and end off the combo with an aerial, which seems like a solid bread and butter for her. You can also act out of up B, being a good example of a pseudo jump, so you could use aerials in neutral, kinda. With that being said, I can't put Bayo higher than a D because her main weakness is finding that finishing blow, and back air usually does that for you. You're amazing at racking up damage, but cleaning up the stock is another story. Simon and Richter gameplay will look a lot like Day 1 Belmont, planting your feet and tossing everything but the kitchen sink at opponents. Your recovery is just so bad because you don't get a double jump to align your recovery, even with the tether. Additionally, Fair and Bear are essential to poke at mobile enemies. You can't rely solely on the projectiles. You do have forward tilt, which is nice, and if you manage to maintain stage control and force people on ledge, you can get some powerful ledge trap scenarios without needing the jump. It's real easy for casuals to think that K-Rool is fine in this challenge because of crown and ball strats and armored normals like down smash and forward tilt. Yet without being able to pop nairs or dropkick people with Fair, K-Rool becomes stale real quick and adapting to him becomes a simple problem to solve. Your recovery is good and ground combos are great with down throw burying and a flexible counter / reflector too. You would think that with all these good things that he'd be better than D tier, but those aerials are just really critical for K-Rool to be good. Incineroar is just a scary dude. Big simple hits instead of up air combos. He's just so slow, I hated playing him. This felt impossible to even keep up with anyone playing Avoidant. You can do astronomical amounts of damage with a well-fed Revenge, and you can recover pretty reliably with side B into up B. Incineroar just struggles internally with bad movement, and with bad movement, it's hard to make a case for ranking a character's quality. Byleth the Distance Demon doesn't really work out because it was primarily Fair and Bear to keep people at bay. Nair is also just a great option in general, and up air can keep people airborne for a long time. Losing aerials, you have other long-range moves like side B, forward smash, and F tilt. Byleth can also use side B to momentum cancel, so if she gets launched off stage, she can use side B first to inch closer to ledge, then go for the up B tether. Overall, she's just kinda bland. Steve cannot jump out of minecart. In fact, you have to get hit out of minecart to leave it. You also can't jump to place blocks to act as stage hazards, and you can't get much off of up tilt besides an up smash. This could be the nerf that people want to do to Steve, just disable their jump buttons. And you still have a lot of good ground options. You still have jab, you have forward smash, grab, but it's so much easier to pressure Minecraft Steve without the fear of minecart or block walls, as well as those extended nil combos too. Let's start off C tier with a fan favorite. Donkey Kong loses the ding dong and the cheater double back air in one short hop. You have good spacing tilt attacks and fun ground combos like down tilts to trip and side B to bury. Cargo throw is a great option to just win games by itself, and armor on his grounded special moves can help tank hits. Unfortunately, DK's vertical recovery is just non-existent due to his up B being better for horizontal movement. Fox McCloud is extremely fast on the ground, being able to traverse the floor with dash attacks and run up smashes. When being forced to play more grounded, it does suck that Fox doesn't have any high knockback grabs to make KOing more consistent. You do lose out on a falling nair into up smash, which is a really big hit, but with the insane ground speed that you have, you can force whiffs from enemies and catch them with your kicks. Lastly, Fox's recovery is even more predictable, but that's not too different here anyways. Pikachu loses their incredible aerials, nair for loops, bears the combo into itself, up air bridges, and forward air as a really good poking tool. Pikachu's damage output is now abysmal and similar to Mario's situation, but slightly better due to having more threatening grounded options such as down tilt jab locks, well spaced forward smashes, and dash attack to disrupt others. Also, Pikachu just has an amazing recovery. Luigi loses their touch of death combos because you don't have any aerials to connect a grab into an up B. Instead, you get down throw into up smash, which is okay. Grab is still going to be prioritized because it's Luigi. Your down tilts are incredibly safe, being -2 on shield, and down B grants you invincibility in between frames 4 and 8. So you have some tricks up your sleeve. With Marth and Lucina, they don't feel bad without jumps, but they also don't feel complete. It's really just nairs and fairs for spacing purposes that we miss out on, and it's such a simple restriction and it becomes such a big handicap. On the ground, you'll use a lot of down tilts, dancing blades, and some F smashes. And of course, we gotta pay the Marth tax by putting him one tier below Lucina. Mewtwo missing out on jumping really does reduce his mobility by a lot, but I kinda liked playing a more grounded Mewtwo, even though the aerials are really good. With my personal bias aside, you can pressure opponents with a mix of Shadow Ball, grabs, and quick tilts. Mewtwo is still Mewtwo and doesn't really have other redeeming qualities on this list, but at least C tier is pretty good. Wario is actually known for having some of the best airspeed in the game. Without a barrage of spinning nairs to combo, Wario can pivot to use down tilt in a dash attack or space people out with that F tilt slap. Interestingly enough, you can still jump out of the motorcycle even without any jump buttons. The bite command grab is nice but not game breaking, and Waft can still hard read people to clean up games. Lucas felt extremely limited without Nair, and advanced tech with Zair goes out the window. Lucas's grounded normals aren't that good, but you can do a down tilt forward smash. You'll mostly start relying on PK Fires and edgeguarding with PK Thunder or PK Freeze, but most likely PK Thunder. That move can really steal stocks from recovering opponents. Lucario is an odd case. Knowing how fast forward air comes out and how disgustingly strong max aura back air can be, makes me think that Lucario will struggle a lot. On the other side of this coin, there are really good grounded moves that utilize aura. A big forward smash, a side B command grab, and Aura Sphere can spook people into making mistakes. Lucario also has a really good recovery, so the strategy here is to lose on purpose to build aura, then make the comeback. Palutena, the goddess, only has great moves in the air. You have Nair loops for easy combos, forward air toe kicks, up air to juggle with Heavenly Light, and that invincible shield back air. Omitting those from her toolkit, you have some decent projectiles and an invincible shield dash attack. Tilt attacks offer solid range but can get punished easily, and the same goes for her smash attacks. You do have a nice back throw to KO, but she becomes pretty mediocre overall. Robin maintains the classic side B up smash to take stocks, and a neutral B to constantly zap opponents, assuming you have juice in the book. Robin's aerials are always helpful as the grounded variations of sword swings feel underwhelming and unimpressive range-wise. Your down smash is pretty good though. If anything, you play while leaning even more on these special moves to win. Cloud loses his famous back air. Your grounded normals are still well disjointed, and building damage comes easy with raw side B or up B at a shield. Limit Charge also provides a new win condition for you, so there's a lot going on for Cloud. The most glaring weakness is just how terrible his recovery is without limit, like horribly bad due to up B only going straight up with no other means to line up with the ledge. Because of this discrepancy of having amazing strengths and detrimental weaknesses, we'll put him in C tier. Corrin has respectable range, with pin and smash attacks alongside some small combos with down tilt and up tilt. Yet Corrin needs to throw out aerials to be good. That's just a non-negotiable. These moves are just so good for Corrin's kit like Nair and Fair. Her recovery is generous for having no jump, which is much needed after playing as Cloud with no jump. Isabelle, the more aggressive villager, has a more suitable combo starter stemming from grounded options like jab and up tilt. You also have Fishing Rod, not only as a win condition by tossing them straight up, but you can use it as a secondary recovery route, which is nice to get out of a pickle. You do lose Slingshot too, but Isabelle is better equipped to deal with close quarters than one would think. Joker is a very elusive character, being able to weave in and out to set up many intricate combos. Without jumps, you can't do fair 1 to pop people up, no drag downs with up air, and you can't send out a bunch of back airs, so it makes sense how much jumps impacts Joker's game plan, both from a combo perspective and an evasive perspective. When Arsene comes out, you can hit super hard to help circumvent the issue, but you need to wait till Arsene comes out. Joker has a solid recovery, quick projectiles, and nice ground speed, but without your powered up version, it won't be easy. Sephiroth loses out on his one-wing triple jump, no more poking with fairs and bears, and no more of that purple snapping Nair. Similar to Villager, where losing that short hop pressure makes it feel like you need your opponent to flub something up just for an opening. Sephiroth does have some jank projectiles you could use, and having one wing still provides beneficial armor, but your game plan dissolves a lot to just F tilts and side B, which could work. Pyra and Mythra is also a very intriguing case study. Mythra seems less affected by no jumps compared to Pyra. Mythra still has a lot of tilt combo starters, and she has no issue racking up more and more damage. Pyra is highly affected due to losing that DLC down air that combos into anything. If you build up enough damage, any of Pyra's moves would kill without a problem. Both of their recoveries suck, and now it sucks even more because mid-air jumps are banned. But they can still play so oppressive on stage, so we'll just split the difference and set them at C tier. Now we're moving on to some good characters in B tier. Peach and Daisy losing float is a huge loss for them, but her grounded normals are all still strong. Turnips are great projectiles, and the princesses can scrap pretty well without the need of combos. Not having float cancelled aerials is a struggle, but she's not completely unplayable. And this is a good example of even though losing float is a massive nerf, that doesn't immediately doom them to F tier. Let's get another princess in here with Zelda. No lightning kicks is quite a shame. I think they're pretty cool, and her up air is actually disgusting. She's a little slow on the ground, but she has really helpful special moves. Neutral B can be a makeshift nair, and you have really good projectiles with down B and side B, and you have some pretty respectable range with F tilt and dash attack. Zelda can still kind of keep that zoning mentality with only grounded moves and her special moves, and it should be fine. Roy and Chrom both rely so much on mashing aerials, so it's a little pathetic how they feel without a jump button. Their grounded options, on the other hand, can still get work done with down tilt setting up tech chases, side B almost being an F smash, and sliding tilt attacks for better dash attacks. Both of them go into B tier, Roy having a much more flexible recovery, while Chrom has a uniform sword that's better for poking and having a more consistent advantage state. Another Echo pair, Pit and Dark Pit. Without their wings to use multi-jumps, these two become like vanilla swordies with a low commitment projectile, a burst option side B, and a reflector. And honestly, that's a great deal. Up smash is a huge anti-air tool, side B catches people off guard if it's unpredictable, and your recovery is still very good. All in all, a pleasantly solid character. The difference in side B and neutral B aren't significant enough to give them separate tiers. Toon Link has the best of both worlds, if the worlds are the two other Links. You have the quick projectiles from Young Link paired with the higher knockback moves from Adult Link with up B and maybe forward tilt, kinda. The grappling hook is much better for grabs, and combining the two strengths makes the Wind Waker a happy surprise in the B tier. Greninja is fast, high mobility, and has a good ground combo game with down tilt up smash, and an oddly irritating zoning with neutral B. Losing dash attack fair is unlucky, and edge guarding with back air is unviable here, and his recovery is pretty good with Hydro Pump. There's not much else to say. I think Greninja is just a good character. For me, Gunner, I felt that the best moveset for no jumping is 3-3-3-1. Grenade Launch, Gunner Missile, Arm Rocket, and Echo Reflector. The Reflector allows me an option to counter other zoners due to jumping being a natural means to answer projectiles. Without jumping, the value of a Reflector is higher than Bomb Drop, in my opinion. Arm Rocket is me Gunner's most flexible recovery, so I'll take whatever I can get. Two very strong zoning tools, so you do a simple grounded bait and punish game of camping people out, observe their movements, and predict them for future interactions. Nothing much has changed for them, a very slow burn type of strategy that can force people to rage quit. Duck Hunt is such a unique zoner that can afford to stay grounded a bit longer due to using down B as a type of wall, alongside the use of can and frisbee. You can also use those smash attacks to react to those coming in recklessly. Your jabs and tilts are subpar, and it's difficult to pin anyone down that has a solution to Duck Hunt's unorthodox zoning style. Ryu and Ken felt really difficult to approach. It might be a skill diff for me not being proficient with them, or how reliant I am on jumping. You still have consistent combo confirms with the Street Fighter characters, it's just getting in that's the issue. Their recovery is alright, you could use a mix of down B, side B, and up B to get the ledge. I would put Ken up in A tier actually due to some of those command inputs he can do to place heavy pressure on grounded opponents. Ridley has an impressive deep recovery even though he can't jump. Side B is a monster of a command grab, and outspacing opponents with tilts and smash attacks are great. Even with losing these massive aerials he has, a combination of grounded normals and specials helps cover this blind spot. Piranha Plant has some decent normals with jabs, F-tilt, and up smash. You keep your fantastic special moves and a generous recovery angle. Just make Patui play the game for you, and every other goofy thing happens perfectly for you if you believe in the plant hard enough. Hero has a spell for anything, from damage to KOing to recovering and buffing. Hero seems to be chilling without jumps. You don't have to use aerials to stuff out enemies, but you got a bunch of other tilt attacks to push people away while you browse the menu spells. Extremely flexible with no fear of running into any hard counter picks, but due to the inconsistent nature of menu and how you can't cancel it with jumping, it becomes easier for opponents to track you down and punish you. It's time to list our A tier characters. Samus and Dark Samus still has a heavy projectile focus and a safe recovery. She feels more lenient on the zoning side as up B out of shield is still one of the best moves in the game, and Samus does benefit from being more defensive, so instead of worrying about jumping at enemies, you can let them come to you, and you'll have the projectiles to provoke and the range of grab or the speed of up B to save you. Bowser dishes out some big damage from his grounded attacks, and not needing too many combos in the first place. He has massive tilt attacks and a great up B out of shield. He doesn't miss out on much from jumping. Maybe his recovery is a little weaker, but still a very formidable foe. Pokemon Trainer is extremely versatile with 3 different Pokemon for each different need, but each Pokemon does lose a good amount of combo power, most notably Squirtle and Ivysaur. Charizard is a last hit menace anyways, so I wouldn't worry too much about that one. But besides that, Squirtle has forward tilt into grab into up B as a very annoying neutral approach. Ivysaur is clearly the worst because you lose your forward air and back air, which are two very prominent aerials for the Ivysaur. And Zard just does Zard stuff with F tilt, up smash, and maybe just a run up grab. Diddy Kong is actually a menace on the ground when you have Banana in hand. Without jumping, you have to compromise some combos, such as instead of Banana into grab into an aerial combo, just do a Banana into smash attack and it's still good damage. You also have down tilt in the up smash and side B to command grab shields. The jetpack also allows Diddy Kong to recover from pretty far, which is very nice for this challenge. So as long as you get creative with your combos, Diddy Kong is pretty solid. Olimar has good aerials, but up smash and special moves are two things that Olimar relied on for these types of videos. Now he has both. More notably, up B can be used as a pseudo jump, and he can act out of it too if you'd like to use an aerial with a somewhat slower jump option. His game plan stays the same of chucking a bunch of Pikmin at your opponent and then hoping for like blues or purples to clean up the stock. I don't want to say S tier because you do want a quick option to swat people away in the air if needed, but A tier is a pretty good spot, not to mention how adaptable all the Pikmin themselves can be. Wolf's aerials and neutral and combos are all important in his regular kit, but he still keeps some pretty standard game plans like down throw dash attack or letting laser and F tilt play neutral for you. You can complain about losing stuff like falling forward air or auto cancel back airs, but you do keep some broken grounded options like up smash out of shield or a really good back throw. Wolf is pretty well designed where I feel pretty comfortable putting him in A tier. For me, Brawler, I think the best moveset for no jumping is 1-2-1-2, shot put, burning drop kick, soaring axe kick, and feint jump. Side B and down B helps make my recovery as flexible as possible. Down throw thumper doesn't work because we can't jump, so we have to play a more hit and run playstyle. And I felt that soaring axe kick's superior range and verticality fills this spot well. Shot put is just the best option in my opinion. It's a very good projectile for neutral and edge guarding. Our normals come out really snappy and quick, and our special moves displace us in a way to make us really hard to hit. I don't think people are used to the axe kick variant, so people might underestimate its range. I think I made a pretty good moveset considering this challenge. The last me sword fighter, I tried 2-2-3-3, Shuriken the poke, Gale Stab as a surprise burst option and beneficial for recovery, Hero Spin for the out of shield option, and Power Thrust as another surprise burst option. I might recommend swapping this to Skyward / Dash for a better recovery if needed, but I just like Hero Spin a lot. The game plan is pretty simple: chuck a bunch of shurikens until they approach sloppily, then hit him with a burst option, or if a shuriken hits, you could still hit him with a power thrust. Your down tilt is -6 on shield, which feels illegal in my opinion, and overall you have a pretty easy time if you just rinse and repeat this simple strategy. Without jumping, you lose those up air confirms and that labbed out me sword fighter combo, so you do have to play a little differently, but it's still a pretty good strategy. Pac-Man has one of the best recoveries in the game without needing a double jump anyways, but you are missing out on short hop fair and nair. Those are both great amazing combo tools that really helps Pac-Man's game plan. Pac-Man does have a sneaky workaround here where if you place a hydrant down, you could run off and use it as a falling aerial, which opens a new dimension of options that most characters fail to have. Plus, grab and smash attack are already so broken on Pac-Man, so he's in a really good spot already. The only reason why I can't give Pac-Man S tier is that I still feel that blind spot and distinct moments of weakness when I could have been fine if I had jumped or used an aerial to stuff someone out. With Inkling, you're mostly missing out on the Booyah up throw up air combo and back air spacing. You can't jump cancel side B with any other button, which is tough, and you do lose how deep you can go for an edge guard. Besides that, you have great mobility with the best unique dash animation, the dashing pairs quite nicely with jabs, a nice berry to strike fear in your opponents, and your up B is amazing for recovery by itself. I like using the down B grenade as a way to condition shields so I get more grabs, so you can definitely get away with playing a more grounded playstyle by constantly moving in squid form so you don't telegraph what you truly want to do. Terry Bogard has such simple and clean grounded combos and can use a combination of special moves to help recover back to stage. Terry has much more agency with his burst options like Crack Shoot and Burning Knuckle to really close the gap on enemies, which feels much better than Ryu and Ken. Terry just has way more initiative in this challenge and just so many more ways to just combo from jabs and down tilts. And on top of that, you have Terry's signature comeback mechanic, which is the Ghost Sauce, because that could bring you back from the game with F-Tilt and a Buster Wolf, or just a raw power geyser. You do lose out on some aerial combos, which is why he's not going in S tier, but he is really good without jumping. You would think that not having jumps would make it difficult for Sora, but because he's so floaty, if anyone would hit him up, he could probably just start doing some aerials to approach anyways. His ground game is pretty impressive. Fireballs in the grab is a classic, down tilt to up smash as a KO confirm, and Sora can easily go for some up B edge guards as his recovery is incredibly lenient. And if they survive too long, an up B at a shield or a back throw or a thunder edge guard will do the trick. I don't think he's an S tier just because losing out on nair loops and fair loops makes him lose that crazy oppression and crazy combo potential. We've made it to the best of the best, S tier. Ice Climbers is going in first because they're in a weird spot here. I feel like there has to be a decent combo in the world that can, at the very least, do a ton of damage without pressing jump. I know you can desync without jumping, but there has to be some combos here. If you're an Ice Climbers labber or main, please let me know in the comments below. I wish I had more time to research this too because I think Ices are fascinating, but I feel confident that there's some 0 to death without the use of jump in any form. Even without the 0 to death combos, desyncs in general can easily dominate the ground and corner opponents into checkmate scenarios. But if Nana fails, you just gotta lock in with Popo. Mr. Game & Watch is so broken. This character is so good, he has such a surplus of best moves in the game. And even without nair or up air, you still have to worry about down smash, a well disjointed, reliable KO confirm that doesn't require any jumping on your part. You can abuse down smash's range and low end lag to your delight. Chef is irritating, especially on the ledge, and up B is not only one of the best out of shield options in the game, but it doesn't put you in freefall, meaning Game & Watch is one of the few characters with a workaround the no jumping rule. You'll mostly do a landing nair or dare, but it's better than nothing. If you want to use one of his aerials, you can just replace it with a different grounded move and you should be fine. His move kit is just that good. Sonic the Hedgehog is a fraud and a cheater. Fun fact, you can still quote jump, cancel side B and down B with an attack button. Because of this revelation, Sonic plays just as you'd expect any Sonic main to play, to opt for side B or down B. It feels like there's virtually no change to their main game plan. Another thing, Sonic's up B doesn't put you in freefall, giving you full access to his aerials as well. Another fun loophole for this tier list. Rob is also here too. Excellent projectiles with gyro and laser, down tilt is -5 on shield because why not? You also have a down throw berry to combo into up smash, or even just an up throw at high enough percents. And you might think, oh Kyle, he needs nair to play the game. But guess what, Rob's up B allows him to act out of it too, meaning he also gets a pseudo jump. Rob could even go for deep edge guards considering how generous that up B is in a world where I remove jumping. Mega Man is equipped with a unique moveset that's mostly horizontal, so other non-jumpers have to deal with it. Up B acts as a super jump and opens up landing on people with aerials or covering high recoveries. You can get very creative with Razor Blade usage as well, and honestly it doesn't feel too far off from a regular control scheme. If anything, I feel like it helped me play Mega Man better because I love going in with his aerials, but this made me practice more restraint, and just continuing to fire off projectiles and letting people come to me. Little Mac is finally here, and I know you've been waiting for him to show up. This tier list is practically made for him. Nothing has changed really besides possible platform combos and ruining his recovery, but mostly everyone's recovery sucks now anyways, so we don't have to worry about that. Don't let regular tier lists fool you. Lil Mac is still a monster on the ground. Up tilt up B as a confirm is very satisfying. Armored smash attacks are pretty difficult to deal with, and the change of having a downward angle down smash do more shield damage makes him more scary. KO punch as an X factor that you can combo from down tilts. He has a lot of options here. I can't not put him in S tier. I don't think he's the best S tier, but this is what he's been training for his whole life. Banjo and Kazooie is a pretty underrated character in my opinion. Up B is another pseudo jump example, allowing you to land on opponents with a nair. Having effective ground control projectiles with eggs and bomb eggs makes the zoning really hard to deal with. Plus, Wonder Wing that kills is a nice threat to catch reckless opponents with. You can get fancy with the Brigo Blaster into up tilt, but you also have down throw berry into up smash, which is perfect for opponents shielding your eggs, so it's a very natural game plan. When playing Min Min with no jump, I assume this is what the actual game ARMS feels like. Absolute stage control with 2 amazing zoning tools, and being able to swap freely from ring to ball makes Min Min even better. You also have the on-stage up B as a fake jump if you want to use aerials or a big old dragon laser after chucking people off stage. Her recovery with up B is very nice, and you can use the aerial smash versions to give you a little boost when returning to stage. Ironically enough, Min Min is basically Little Mac but with mile-long arms. Kazuya Mishima is back. I don't think there's a 0 to death combo that is jumpless, but Kazuya still can do a lot of damage, and I know that you could do Electric Wind God Fist into up smash, so he's covered in that damage department. He has his up B, so if you ever wanted to use aerials you could. He does have the worst jump squat in the game with 7 frames of animation, so losing the jump shouldn't be that bad. The deciding factor for me to put Kazuya into S tier is really just crouch dashing. If you're a crouch dashing demon, you just avoid a lot of hits and you get your free opening, which is amazing. If you can't crouch dash well, we could bump him down to A tier for you. Snake is here mostly because what you do in neutral isn't too different with jumps or without jumps at a base level. You have everything you really need, the dash attack every Snake main loves to throw out, that 2-piece F tilt, the up tilt that sends people to heaven, and all your explosives. Snake has an incredibly generous recovery with up B, and you could act out of up B as well if you'd like. You do lose your fastest out of shield option down air, but you do have up smash at 11 frames, which is good, or you could just parry up tilt, and at high enough percent so you could do down throw into up tilt as a true combo, so you have a option for anything. And his ledge trapping and edge guarding is broken. For ledge trapping you do C4 and up smashes and grenades, and for edge guarding you have Nikita. All in all, pretty similar to his zoner / trapper game plan. Thank you all for watching. Here's the entire tier list. If you skipped all the way here, please go back and watch it because I poured a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this video. And if you could, like, comment, and subscribe.